Good morning and welcome to the Port Authority bus terminal. Today we're going for the other side of Microlink, the one down at Union Hill Road Park and Ride. I'm finally down in a quiet corridor so I can film the intro. It's packed right now because it's 9 in the morning and everybody's coming in. Let's go buy my ticket. By the way, going up here, for those who don't know, little back passageway. Usually a lot quieter. Watch the mirror up there, make sure nobody's coming down. Otherwise, nice and easy. Leaves you right by 313, 314, and 15, and then you can just walk around to where you need to go. Nice and easy, ignoring all the crowds up by the escalators. Right over here at 325, which is the gate for Covered Bridge, one of the services they've eliminated from Microlink. They've got signs for it. So we're gonna be going to Union Hill Road Park and Ride to ride it from there. This one is much more interesting than the Bergen County one. Still signed up wrong, 128. All right, so here we are. We're in the back of the bus now. We leave in about 30 seconds, maybe less. And we are gonna just take this bus a little bit to Union Hill Road Park and Ride, and then from there, we're gonna book the microtransit. What's interesting about this, and off we are. What's interesting about this segment of microtransit is that it's operated by people from Howell Garage. They have currently 4 runs on it, 2 AM straights and 2 PM straights, and that's with one for Union Hill Road Park and Ride, and one for Old Mall in the morning, and then the same for the evening. It's very interesting that they do it this way. Obviously, you know, this is Howell Garage, so these are bus drivers who, for the spring pick, they picked to run line quote-unquote 230, the shuttle work, or micro transit work, I guess. And obviously, again, that's different from how it is up in Bergen County, where those are operators who they are contract operators. They work for the company VIA. They're paid by VIA, and so it's just a very interesting difference. The vehicles are also going to be very different, but I don't want to share too much. By the way, down there quickly, not to interrupt myself, 1284 Gun Hill now turned into an MJQ swing bus. Anyway, so there's a lot of differences out here. I will show you the differences in the van once we get on board, because I can't spoil that shit. Alright, I'll see you guys when we get down there, or if I spot anything interesting along the way. Alright, so we just made it to Union Hill Road Park, right? Here goes our bus. And I noticed as you're pulling up, walk a little bit down this way. Right over there is the microtransit van. It's very interesting. I'm gonna run over there, grab a picture and show it to you guys, and then we'll book a ride. Alright, so first of all, take a quick look at the legals. It's operated by NJ Transit, not a third-party company like Via, Transdev, anything like that. So that's just something to notice with this right away. Second of all, it has a sign. This is Union Hill. It's got one on the front as well. It's pretty interesting the way they do this. So these vans are operated by drivers that work for NJ Transit. This isn't contracted out, like I was saying. This is NJ Transit itself. And as you can see, it's plated as an omnibus, nothing else. And if you'll notice that on the driver's side, battery compartment under driver's seat, these are electric. So all of these right now that they've got are electric. I think they've got 6 to 8 of them at the garage. And right now there should be one out up here and one out down at Free Old Mall. All right, now that we're back over here, let's go book my ride. I'm gonna be going to Taylor Mill Road at, I think, Country Lane, County Lane, whatever it is. And I'll explain the significance of that location once we get there. Quick note about Union Hill Road Park and Ride. You can look behind me and behind me over there. There's plenty of cars here, so people have always driven to the park and ride. But the microtransit is very useful for people who are going to come here who maybe didn't have the opportunity to drive. Maybe they're a one-car household, whatever it is. The microtransit allows other people in this area, gives them easier access to the park and ride. Maybe they don't want to pay for parking, whatever it is. Maybe they can't drive in the morning because they're too tired or they don't fucking feel like it. Whatever it is, this microtransit provides that opportunity for them, and that is important. Here we are loading up the app. I already put it in, so we're going from here, we're going down somewhere around here. I think it's somewhere down here. it's not up there. Anyway, so just gonna request an idea. There it is. That's where we're going. Taylor Mills Road at Country Lane. And again, I'll explain the significance of that when we get there. Right now it's free. I'm gonna book the ride, and then I'm sure the guy's probably just gonna loop it around from down there. So let's see. I will be right back with you when the van pulls up, or I might even film it pulling around. Let's give it a go. And there it is. You see the guy's moving around. He's gonna probably loop it around all up here. Might be talking to the regional. Alright, yep. So yeah, so Union Hill Road is a base spot for these, so it does make sense that he's waiting up over here. This is, if I had to guess, his most recent drop-off point, but you never know. And then we'll see it coming from here. You can kind of see it in the back corner over there. Alright, moving again. And look at that, again, these have got destination signs, so I assume the other option is Freehold Mall, if that's where it's based out of. And again, these are all electric. So here it is pulling up. Alright, let's get on. So here we are. There are 5 seats and then space for a wheelchair. This is even less than I thought. So we're just gonna buckle. So again, 5 seats. Remember to buckle up. Seats are good, comfortable. Not for a long ride compared to any of the coach buses, but it's not a big deal. It'll get the job done. It's only a quick, short ride. And you can see up there, it's meant for 7 passengers, which means for the service they've cut, it's not necessarily going to be the same capacity on only one van. Another interesting note, unlike the 130 or 139 to cover Yorktown, since it's just me and I'm going to the last stop, you can cut through there on Route 9 because Route 9 is faster. So because it's on demand, I'm not wasting my time going around through covered bridge and everything, because the van will take me straight there to the end. So I've talked to some operators I know, and I heard about half of the microtransit vans do have these signs, and as such they have an ODK on the inside, as you can see in this short clip, because they have to set up the sign. I don't know what all the options are, but I only know there's definitely one for you to know. Now we're approaching where I'm going from the opposite side as the 130 or 139 would, because we are coming onto Taylor Mills Road right now, so we're going to go right over here. I guess almost similar to if a bus were going to be starting the route from here. So we're going to go right over here, and then the next block is going to be where we're going to get off. Alright, and I was just dropped off. I don't know about down here, but at the Microtransit or Microlink, which is Microtransit in Bergen County, the drivers are free to sit wherever they want. I'm not sure if over here they're supposed to return to the starting, I guess, base at every time and wait for a ride over there. Either way, as soon as he pulls off, we're gonna snag a quick picture, film it, and then I'm gonna talk about all this shit in general. And here it goes. You can really hear that it's electric. All right, so that is Country Lane. This is Taylor Mills Road. This was the first stop for buses going via Yorktown and Covered Bridge to New York, and it no longer is, and so we're going to talk about that. NJ Transit has decided to cut the 130 and 139 trips that go via Covered Bridge, which is an apartment complex in Marlborough, and the ones that come down here. They were called Covered Bridge, Yorktown, and they ended or started right over here, and Route 9 is really just a little bit that way. And one of the problems that you might have with this is we just rode the van. There were space for 6 people, but 1 ADA, 5 passengers, and the driver. That's not much, to say the least. Those trips at Covered Bridge could easily pick up more than a van's worth of passengers. Out here, when I rode this line, there weren't very many passengers coming out here to like Country Lane and on Taylor Mills Road. I was the only one to go past Covered Bridge, but there were a good amount of people who got off at Covered Bridge, more than that would fit in one van, and that was just one trip. I don't know how the other trips are. And so the reason I'm saying this is because in the last video, you remember I said that service shouldn't be cut to make room for microtransit. And unfortunately, that is what happened here. And not only did it happen here, in Freehold, the 132 Rain Street and Stonehurst sections were cut. I almost just dropped my phone there. I'm glad I didn't. Anyway, so the problem with these service cuts is you're taking away bus service from people who, you know, might need it. A bus is a set schedule. When this gets busier, you might have to wait 20 or 30 minutes to get in. Also, the first bus that comes here is at 5:55 in the morning, and Microlink starts at 6 in the morning. So already that's 5 minutes, plus, you know, I don't know where it's starting, where it's coming from, as early as you can book it. There can be complications pushing people who were taking that first trip to have to wait a little bit longer to head in. And then that ignores the fact that there's a real possibility the van can't fit all the people that used to take that first trip at that time. Now, NJ Transit says that one of the reasons they're doing this is to provide more flexibility and more freedom to the riders who live on these lines. No longer are they bound by rush hour, as from 6 to 8 p.m., from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., they can now come and use Microlink to get to Union Hill Road Park and Ride, or to get to Freehold Mall if they're on that Raintree Stonehurst section of the 132. And it's interesting that they're doing this. I'm not sure how I really feel. Obviously, look, you know, service is being cut. We're out here. You can see there's not really many riders. The bus stops out here weren't even signed. Nobody used them. But again, at Covered Bridge, that was an entirely different story in the apartment complex. We'll see how it goes in the future. Howell Garage does have more vans that they could use, and in theory, NJ Transit could procure more. Perhaps this will, you know, provide riders freedom and let them get to where they need to go. And perhaps this will just, you know, be another pain in the neck for riders, especially in Covered Bridge, who don't have a reliable and scheduled way to get to the city now. One more thing, so I would just note that for riders who live at this stop, I would suspect they probably just walk the 5 minutes down the road, which I'm gonna have to do to get back, to get to the bus. There's a bus up there, Route 9 at Taylor Mills Road. So there is a possibility that, you know, people at this stop won't need it, but if you go down the road, you know, this way more, in towards Marlborough and towards Covered Bridge, like the 130 and 139, there's no easy way to get to the city without using microtransit. Again, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Fridays. It's an improvement for service hours, but it's taking down capacity. And so that could have a problem during those peak periods where people need to be getting to work. All right, so we're nearly at the bus stop. It's right over there. It's about a 5-minute walk. There it is. I'm pointing this up on camera. It's right over there. It's about a 5-minute walk. Really not that bad. The only bad part is, especially at this crosswalk over here, the lack of pedestrian infrastructure. There's no crosswalk here, and there's none over there. So it's only cross on one side. But that's besides the point. We're gonna get a bus back. Overall, this is pretty cool. It's good to expand transit. I'm not concerned about the cutting of Raintree or Stonehurst and the cutting of Yorktown, but I think that Covered Bridge should still retain the few buses a day they had, in addition to the microtransit. Just when you're thinking about the ridership those got, I think it's easier to have buses on a set schedule for just Covered Bridge. And again, you know, they can just be starting at Union Hill Road Expresses, which is they were for the most part, or they go all the way. But, you know, instead of just ending at Union Hill Road, just, you know, extend them for 5-10 more minutes, serve that, and I think it's going to be a much better replacement to the microtransit. So we'll see what they do. Again, this is a 2-year pilot program. There are options. There's no guarantee they're going to keep it this way. Fire them again, you know, keep Covered Bridge, that apartment complex, to sell their buses. Otherwise, I think the microtransit out here is great. Microtransit is good in, you know, these wide, spread out areas. And this area, you know, there's a lot of sprawl here, and so microtransit is useful to connect people to the Route 9 trunk line. One other thing I would say is, depending on when they expand microtransit, it might also be useful to allow them to use it at, say, any bus stop, for example, where I am right now, instead of having to go all the way to Union Hill and back, depending on where it's going to be, just as a general idea for the future. But we'll see how it goes. Either way, I think, you know, it's good to improve transit access. I think this is
overall a step in the right direction, except for cutting covered bridge. Otherwise, I think this is a step in the right direction, and I think that they did something good. I'm also happy that it's being operated by NJ Transit drivers and not a contractor, at least down here. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm really curious, what a lot of other people think about this, because unlike Bergen County, they've cut service down here to make room for microtransit, and that can have, that can really have a lot of repercussions. So we'll see how that goes. I will link the part 1 with the microtransit in Bergen County down below. See you in the next one. By the way, these are the new bus stops with digital display signs. I'll have a video on that soon, so hopefully that video is out before this one, but if not, whenever it is, I'll link that down below. These are pilot program. I like these better than the ones in North Jersey, the ones they got in Hoboken and Union City. And for more information, just watch the video, I suppose. You can also look up the pilot program